What up, everybody? So glad you're here. It's Thundero to put the flow back in your ear. It's Coolio, but it's not Coolio. It's Thunder.
Got it.
This is Thunder and Tommy on a Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Mitch.
Happy Wednesday to you, Mike. Hump day.
Hump day.
It is Hump Day right here. We are presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Want to welcome in all of our new friends and family. In Wausau, it's 93.9 The Game. In Duluth Superior, it's 7:10 The Game. Time to play the game. Man, Triple H is big in Duluth. It's 99.7 FM WNFL. Best call letters in the business. Literally. That's in Green Bay. And then it's 12:50 a.m. and 105.7 FM The Fan in Milwaukee. We're all over the socials at WI Sports Radio, Wisconsin Sports Radio Network right here. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter. One day we will be live in your living room. Oh, that'd be cool. We should run a promotion.
I mean, if you have a smart TV, YouTube, right?
Right. Well, then we're definitely in your living room. I remember years ago we ran a promotion. Oh, the night of the Fail Mary. The night of the Fail Mary, we ran a promotion that we would come to your house. You would win a TV. We would have like an AV company set up at your new 80-inch, 6-foot, whatever it was, TV.
Yeah.
We would come and watch the game, and I think we were going to broadcast the post game from it. Well, we quickly realized, like, we can't do the post game because it's going to go till 2 a.m, like even during the game, like before the ending. But thankfully, like, what a debacle of a promotion that was. The next year, we ran the same promotion where some guy won it and wanted to do it at one of the bars on Blue Mound.
Okay.
And that was the night Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone.
Against the Vikings?
Yeah. So guess who stopped doing – oh, no, it was against the Bears. It was before the Vikings won.
Oh, okay.
It was a couple of years before the Vikings won.
All right.
Where I think it was his left collarbone. So
I just remember Anthony
shoulder.
Barr falling on him. That's the Vikings
one. Yeah, that was the big one. That was the big one. He had he was only out for like a month on this one.
Okay.
All right. And that was the Seneca Wallace year, I think.
Scott Tolzien, everyone kind of circling
exactly.
in there.
Yep. But we quickly realized that we should never do this promotion again.
Yeah, you guys are bad luck.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, you hear that across the street, you're bad luck. My name is Mitch Nelson, aka Thunder. Tommy Wirtz is here as well. It's a Wednesday, so Mason is off doing his human thing. We've got tons of stuff to get to today because it seems like everything's going on in the world of sports right now. We're not in a sports equinox. Baseball is over, but there's certainly baseball news to talk about. Bucks are in the beginning stages of their identity, figuring out who they are. The Packers are in the thick of it. Badgers football in the thick of it. And of course, college basketball just kicking off. So we're going to get to all of those things, both locally and nationally, and our takes. Andy Herman, our best friend, Pack It A podcast, he'll join us at the top of the 1 o'clock to talk about some roster moves the Packers have made in the past couple days. Also, the fact that no trades were made by the Green Bay Packers, although there were a flurry. You like that word? Flurry?
Flurry's cool.
It was a flurry of activity in the NFL yesterday. Flurry of rumors regarding the Packers and potentially some backup tight ends. But none of it came to fruition.
Yeah, got a workout coming up this week with them too, it sounds like.
You do?
Not me,
but you can play tight end.
Asante Samuel Jr. Reported.
He's the one we're all keeping our eyes on, right?
That feels like that can be the biggest splash Green Bay could have made this week.
That's
right?
That
feels like that was the move. Anything was
that's
serious.
Getting Woodruff off of the injured list. That's bringing in Andrew Vaughn a month early. That's
right.
All right, we didn't do something at the trade deadline because we are focused on this. The concern I have there, and we'll get to this with Andy Herman, of course, a little more in depth, is that I think there's like 10 teams. Like if you're Asante Samuel and you pass all the physicals, you're going to have your pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Packers got to be on that list.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm picking between the Packers and the Eagles and the Lions and the Patriots and the Bills and
Chiefs,
the Chiefs.
If they come by, right.
Just those 6 teams. All right. Packers, Eagles, Lions. I'll throw in Buccaneers there too.
Packers, Eagles, Lions, okay,
Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks,
I'm not giving any respect to the NFC West, and that's okay. We'll throw them.
All right.
And then Bills, Chiefs, Patriots. I mean, the Packers are on that list. The Packers are high on that list. I do wonder, like, well, look at who his dad played for. Like, does that have any? Does that weigh
back
more,
in Philly,
right? Back
something
in
like
Philly,
that.
Potentially. Although they just made the trade for Jair, so maybe they're not in it as much. Although Jair's trash,
won't play,
right?
Probably.
This is Thunder and Tommy on a Wednesday in for Mason Crosby. The Mason Crosby Show, of course, is presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. And if you've been paying attention, and I know it's, what are we, 7? Are we 7 or 8 games in? We're not a huge amount in to the NBA season. Let's see. The Bucks are 5-3. So they're 8 games in, 1/10 of the season. So essentially, they've played 2 NFL games, right? They're 5-3. They've lost 2 of their last 3, though. They were 4-1. And before I get to the honest, this is going to be kind of like last week, where like I saved the rant. The concern I have is that both against Sacramento, the past 3 games, I think the Bucks have looked like last year's team. At 4-1, the Bucks look fast. They looked energetic. They looked like they were getting things done. They beat the Warriors, which was fun. And then home against Sacramento on a Saturday afternoon, they're up double digits. Let Sacramento back in and let Sacramento steal that game. Then they go to G League Indiana, where again, they're up by double digits. Let Indiana come all the way back and need a buzzer beater by Giannis to beat what the Bucks should be a playoff team versus a Pacers team that's 1-6. That is absolutely terrible. Without Halliburton, they lost Turner, and now Mathurin and Toppin aren't playing either. I mean, they are absolutely bankrupt as a team on the court right now. And then I get back-to-back is tough. I get they had to, show their passports. They had to cross the border. They went all the way from Indianapolis to Toronto, which is actually like an hour flight, if that, and got blown out by a way more energetic Toronto Raptors team. The last 3 games, this Bucks team has looked like last year's team. Okay, so I'm going to say that as the foundation, and now we're going to go where we want to go, Tommy.
Okay. Yep.
The referee, I mean, what is going on in the NBA right now is absolute garbage.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
It makes no sense that in a league which they purposely, it feels like, call fouls on superstars because they want to inflate some of their point totals, Giannis is the only one.
Give them the fouls.
Right,
Yeah.
And Giannis is the guy who suffers because Giannis is more physical and plays a completely different game than anyone else who is drawing free throws. Giannis had 6 free throws yesterday.
Insane. Got to the line 3 times. 3 times.
That's just not possible. It's just really the way he plays and how he drives and how he craves contact on the offensive side. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason that Giannis can't shoot more than 6 free throws in a ball game. Every single game he is out there. And quite frankly, yesterday, I find there's bigger things to complain about than Giannis should have been at the line. But continuing to see the trend of they are not going to call these fouls because of Giannis's play style is garbage for this team right now. And I don't think the refs are the reason why the Bucks lost yesterday. 0 for 10 from 3 between Taurean Prince and Bobby Portis didn't really help. Taurean played 21 minutes, and he pretty much went out there and Tony Snelled. He had 1 assist and didn't register another stat other than that.
Tony Snell, that's a great reference.
I mean, you remember him when he was just first team all cardio back in the day, 28 minutes, no stats.
Let's go get our cardio, bro.
Well, the Bucks need something from someone off the bench yesterday, and the bench wasn't great. Other than Kuzma coming off the bench, and Cole Anthony, my guy too, but he also couldn't knock down a jumper either. The Bucks shot 11 for 38 from 3. It's a 28% 3-point percentage. You're not going to win a game in the NBA if you do that today. And you're going to have nights like that. Yeah. Right? Like they didn't shoot 16% from 3, because guess what, everybody? They're going to have a night like that too, where they shoot 16%. They shot 29% from 3. Not good enough. Tommy just said it, and he said, 1,000% correct. Not good enough, but not horrible. You can overcome 29% if Giannis is getting 30+, if you're getting to the free throw line.
And they were 15 for 21 overall, but Giannis getting there 3 times is crazy. And just the entire, here's my issue. My issue is we don't have recourse. Nobody from the Bucks is calling me up and saying, hey, Mitch, we want you to sit next to David Gruber at the next home game, and we want you to yell at the refs. And here's what we want you to yell. We want you to yell at the refs what you yelled at Ron Renicky in 2011. We want you to say, because I yelled this from 4 rows back of the Brewers dugout in Game 6 of the NLCS when the Brewers were playing the Cardinals, and Ron Renicky did the disservice of putting Sean Markham out on the mound, who was hurt and done. And I said, Ron, I go to work every day and I do my job. Why aren't you doing yours? And I want to go to an NBA game, and I want to say that to the referees. I want to say to the entire officiating staff, I go to work. Tommy, do you go to work? Did you work a few hours here and there?
Yeah, I try.
And when you go to work, do you show up and work?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So not only do you come to work, but when you're at work, you do the work.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Why don't NBA referees do that? They're purposefully not doing their job. And I heard it on 9 to Noon. They have the audio from Doc Rivers saying the ref said to him, well, he played through the contact, so he didn't call it.
Mm-hmm. We played that yesterday.
You literally just told Doc that Giannis got fouled, and you didn't call the foul. What is your job, Mr. NBA referee?
I wonder.
I don't understand.
I just don't know why he is the only guy feeling from this, too. This is something that everyone knows is almost a problem in the NBA, where they're calling too many fouls, and there's so much, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Free throw merchant. Joel Embiid, free throw merchant when it was happening in their MVP seasons. And Giannis is now this guy who has to be made an example of compared to the rest of the NBA, that they're not going to call these fouls. And it is strictly because of his play style. He's not going to sell. He's trying to make every basket, not draw fouls. But he is blatantly being fouled way more than what is being actually called on him. And understandably, Doc Rivers is frustrated about it.
And listen, his free throw attempts per game this year, it's not like he never gets to the line. 7, 12, 16, 7, 14, 9, 6. And so the numbers, he gets to the line 5 times a game. He's averaging 10 free throws a game. But for the amount of times he gets fouled, and I know that 6 weeks ago, we went to a statewide network, right? And I know that there are folks in Milwaukee who don't like the NBA product, right? There are folks especially in the wild counties. That's Waukesha, Ozaki, and Washington, who may have lived in Milwaukee when they were in their 20s, but now live in those counties and don't come downtown and don't come to Bucks games. Well, now I know that there are fans in Green Bay, and there are fans in Wausau, and there are fans in Duluth Superior. And I know there are Bucks fans in all those pockets, but I also know there are fans there who don't care about the NBA, who don't like it, who not only do they not, if they didn't care about the NBA, that'd be one thing. They actively don't like, and you can tell me, you can chime in on the Nicolay Law Talking text line if I'm wrong, or if you agree with me. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. There are fans actively who do not like the NBA for this reason, for the fact that SGA touches the ball and goes to the free throw line. That we see time and time again, LeBron James for 20 years flopping and getting the calls. And Giannis will not flop. Giannis will not go down. And listen, he's in Toronto last night and he makes a basket and he has the biggest muscles, right? Pound for pound, he's got to be one of the strongest guys, I don't know about on earth, but in the NBA. We call him the Greek freak, not just because of his basketball skill, but also his strength.
Sure. And
his speed, because it's unmatched right now. But because it's unmatched, the referees don't know how to referee him, and there's no respect. And I think part of that also goes to the whole Milwaukee small market thing.
Giannis is the NBA's version of the tush push.
Giannis is the NBA's version. Oh, I got to think about this.
They just don't know how to officiate it.
Well, so they definitely don't know how to officiate it. But he's also the absolute opposite of the tush push in that you can argue that the tush push is like not a football play.
Yeah.
Everything Giannis does is a basketball play.
Absolutely.
And they don't know how to, and the NBA has become the NBA itself has become the tush push because they're not playing basketball. They're playing NBA basketball, which is not what I play at the JCC,
right?
Which is not what guys are playing at the YMCA or the WAC or the Princeton Club or what are some of the other gyms around the state?
That's why there's always been, comparisons of which is the better product of the NBA or college basketball, because if you grow up playing basketball, you grow up playing the style that they play at the NCAA level, right? It is team-oriented, setting picks for guys, running around, hustling the entire time, and Giannis is playing NBA style where it is much more ball dominant.
Yep.
And it's a guy who's going to carry a team. There's not a lot of team aspect to basketball anymore, it feels like. There's a couple of texts coming in on the Nicolay Law talking text line. Mark and Eagle have questioned the NBA refs for years. Explain to me how DeRozan can shoot 10 free throws a game, shooting mid-range jumpers. If calls were equal, Giannis would shoot 20 a game.
True.
Mitch, also another one coming in from the 414. There was a body of mine that had passed buddy of mine. Yep. Sorry, I see that the correction comes in. That passed a while ago that always said, I'm just going to watch the final 3 minutes of an NBA game and I'll be good. That's totally a fair take, I think, too. It feels that way, especially in today's NBA where, a 15-point lead is 5 possessions, right? That's the goal for NBA franchises. You get hot and you have a guy who just keeps knocking it down, like 15-point leads go away like nothing. Now, it feels like that's been the way for the last decade, maybe in the NBA, that you don't really have to worry about it when it's that big of a margin. Whereas it used to feel like that was a game that was already done. It was chalked it up and it was over, which maybe is a positive for the NBA.
In some ways it is, if it's real. If it's real, it's a positive for the NBA. If it's a made-up thing by the NBA and the referees to get games closer, to change the way they referee, then it's just like, then it's the floor. Then it's $10,000.
So then there's another question.
It's made up bull crap. It's Survivor. It's what
Don't come at my Survivor.
I'll come at your Survivor. It's fake. It's all fake.
But here's another thing. Then does that have to be a part of the Bucks' identity? Is like Giannis needs to get to the line more. Giannis needs to get to the line in order for us to win games. Because is that now setting Milwaukee up for success? Because that feels like if that's going to be a part of your identity, you're relying a lot on outside factors, right? It's not because our team does this, it's because the officials call it, right? And it's not like the identity of we're going to shoot a lot of threes and we're going to space the floor out. That's something you can control. Does the Bucks' identity have to be a part of Giannis has to get to the free throw line?
No, because again, if they shoot 37% from three last night instead of 29%, that's 4 more threes probably. And yes, I know they lost by 28, but in a game like that, instead of being down 17 in the second quarter or third quarter, they're down 9.
Again,
and then it becomes a game. So I think the identity is that spread it out and shoot. But I think the identity is also to be refereed fairly.
Sure.
Right? I don't think it's whether Giannis specifically gets to the line more or not. I think a result of being refereed more fairly would be that Giannis does get to the line more often. But I don't necessarily think that that's the end goal. That is a result of playing the game the right way and being refereed fairly. 414-677-1250 is the phone number. It's the Nicolay Law talk and text line. Esther Noble says, why are we talking basketball? Hey, this is your show. I put this up on my Facebook page on Thunder MKE. So I've a Facebook page, Thunder MKE. Everybody is invited to join it. And I wrote, what do you like about sports? The Brewers lost in the playoffs. Kraft is hurt, and the Packers lost to the Panthers. Giannis can't get a call. Remind me why you like sports. And I've got a ton of comments on that I want to get to today, because I'm kind of in this thought process today of like, why can't we have nice things? Why are we, and listen, there are 82 basketball games. You're going to lose in Toronto. It's going to happen. But why is Tucker Kraft getting hurt? I know Sean Ryan came out and like blew up the Carolina guy, said he thought it was an illegal play. I think the NFL came back and said it was a legal play, but it was kind of a dirty play.
Has anyone seen a hip drop tackle penalty other than on Micah Parsons that one time?
I haven't seen a hip drop tackle.
He had the one against Jacoby Brissett on one of his sacks.
Right, no. Besides that, I haven't seen a hip drop tackle. So like, I've seen.
Feel like there's one every game in an NFL game.
Yeah, but I think like kind of like the horse collar. It's like it's the follow through. Micah followed through on that. You see a lot of hip drop tackles where they let go at the right time, and I think Micah didn't let go at the right time. But that's definitely something to look for. Again, when we talk about like, can Wisconsin sports fans not have nice things? Like, why is Micah Parsons getting refereed differently than everybody else's? So I would say to Esser Nobles, who writes in on YouTube, why are we talking basketball? This is your show. This is your time. Like, we are here for you. You give us, don't say, why are we talking basketball? Tell us what you'd like to talk about. You give us the topic, we'll give you the time. That's what we are here for. That's why we give you the phone number, 414-677-1250, so that you can text in with your thoughts and your opinions, because we are here for you. We are the voice of the fan. We are a family here on Thunder and Tommy, in for Mason Crosby on the Mason Crosby Show. So why do you like sports? Remind me why you like sports. Can we not have nice things as Wisconsin sports fans? I do want to talk a little bit about the Brewers offseason, because there's a slew of moves they made in the past couple of days. The first college football rankings are out. Guess what? The Badgers are 423rd out of 103 teams. I don't know how they did that, but they accomplished that goal. There's tons of college basketball that's already started. Andy Herman will join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. This is Thunder and Tommy on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. It is the Thunder and Tommy edition of the Mason Crosby Show. Mason's out on a Wednesday, so it's me, Thunder. I'm Mitch Nellis. Tommy is here as well. We are off and kicking on this Mike hump day. That's right. We're in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, which I realized I hadn't been to in a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Actually, my mother has been to Potawatomi more recently than
really?
me.
Mommy Tommy?
Doesn't happen at all. Yeah.
What does she do when she goes?
No, she went to dinner or something there yesterday. That was it. I don't think she's not really a gambler. That's
I don't know if you know this or not, but dinner's wonderful.
Oh yeah, they have great stuff over there. Bunch of great food. We go there all the time.
Yeah. But it's just been a minute. Been a minute. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Lots coming in. DK and NB, I assume, is New Berlin, although there's probably some other NBs around the state, but I'm going to go DK and NB. I'm just a little old high school basketball official for the last 15 years. I have no idea what rules the NBA officials are abiding by. To me, it's borderline WWE. I'm actually waiting for Giannis to take a chair shot and have it not called. And I know that that B Snizzle, Brandon Snide and Rami were talking about, Brandon kind of wants Giannis. There was a time toward the end of the second quarter where Giannis got hammered twice, no call. And then Giannis touched the guy and they called the foul against him, and he balled up his fists and it looked like he was going to kill the referee. Gary Trent Jr. came over and calmed him down and it all but it's it is getting ugly. And it's this is what I talk about. Listen, kind of like DK in New Berlin, who's is a high school basketball referee. I play in a league on Sunday mornings and we have referees. And the only time I get mad at referees, I never get mad with missed calls. Even inconsistent calls, I generally don't get mad. I get mad when somebody's going to get hurt because, we're not there to get hurt. That's not our job. I love playing basketball. I play every Sunday morning. I'm not there to get hurt. Mrs. Thunder would kill me. She said it for 30 years, 20 years, 25 years, whatever. I'm not there to get hurt, and I just see that. 912 writes in, NBA isn't worth watching until the playoffs. The officials call the game differently, and the players actually play defense. I agree with that. I think they play. I think the product is better than that. But I will agree that there's the segment of the population that's not going to watch. There's a big segment that's not going to watch till Christmas. I get that. And then 262 says, Mitch, there are hip tackles all the time in the NFL. Maybe watch a little more before you just say no on that topic. I'm not saying there aren't hip tackles. I'm saying to me, the difference is the follow through. I think there are hip drop tackles a lot.
Yeah, but now we're talking about landing with your body weight on a quarterback. That's a dumb one too. I know they call it, but that's a dumb penalty that they are way more likely to call than the hip drop tackle. It feels like.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're the way they protect the quarterbacks. I see that. 414-677-1250 is the phone number. 414-677-1250. Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Feel free to chime in. I did want to mention, we didn't mention it yesterday. I did want to mention some of the Brewers offseason moves because I think it was worth, we had such a magical ride this year, right? It was unbelievable. The ride that we had, the August that we had, the struggle of September, and then the real struggles against the Dodgers. But it was such 97 wins, so many stories. Every single player had their own storyline. It was fantastic what we saw with our Brewers offseason. And so we saw that the team did exercise their club option on Freddie Peralta. No surprise. What is it? 8 million or something?
Yeah. Super team friendly.
Yeah. So Freddie is here for at least one more year, unless he gets traded, which is going to be a rumor this offseason. So just buckle up for it. Right. I'm just letting everybody know that Freddie Peralta, just like Corbin Burns before him,
Devin Williams
before him as well, as you enter your last year of arbitration and you're about to make 20+ million a year, you're going to be in these trade conversations. I'm not making them up. I'm not trying to be the guy who's telling Wisconsin fans they can't have nice things. I'm just telling the truth. That's what we do here on Thunder and Tommy, part of the Mason Crosby Show. We tell you the truth. Freddie Peralta is going to be in trade rumors. Teams are going to call about Freddie. The Brewers are going to listen about Freddie. And there's a chance Freddie gets traded during the offseason or at the beginning of the season or whatever that might be. There's that opportunity. There is that chance, especially if the Brewers get the value back that they think they need for it. If they get a big bat, we've talked about how rich the Brewers are in young pitching now as it is experienced. And has it had the type of success that Freddie Peralta has? No. We know that. We know it's a risk. But be ready for that conversation. Brandon Woodruff declines his option. Both teams had the opportunity to pick this up. I'm guessing that the Brewers would have said yes, but Brandon Woodruff said no. I think was it $20 million?
Yes, that was a $20 million.
That was a 1 year, $20 million deal. I don't know what Brandon has planned. With his injury history, he's not getting a big money long-term deal.
Probably not. No.
And so the question is, does he think he can get even from the Brewers, can he get like a 3-year, $40 million deal?
Well, here's what I think, Mitch. I think a lot of these guys are declining a lot of options across Major League Baseball because either they want to get their contracts situated before 2027, or they want to keep them short term and optimize their cash until 2027. Because
but that would have worked for Woodruff. 1 year, $20 million would have optimized his cash. He's not getting $20 million on the open market.
Yeah, or
he's just not.
Yeah, I probably not. But I also think that there is another team that would be willing to take a chance on him because of experience that they've had with Brandon Woodruff, and that's Chicago. And I really do feel
Chicago Cubs.
Yes. I feel
you think
like
they're going to sign him to a 3-year, $60 million deal.
It's just like Imanaga pulls out of his option, right? Like I just see it. I don't love it.
If they do, I love it because listen. I don't think anybody should be signing Brandon Woodruff to any type of market value 3-year deal because he's not going to pitch it. Listen, I'm just going to be real. Brandon Woodruff's not going to pitch it. He's just not. He's just not. He's proven. Listen. There are trends.
Yeah, but even 2 years ago when he went
right.
out, we knew he was going to miss a lot of time. That was really the first bad injury that came across for Brandon Woodruff. And then this year, he didn't get to make it for the postseason, and that was a really big detriment to the Brewers. And it really highlighted that the Brewers need more starting pitching, even as well too. Like
the Brewers need that. And I would take Woodruff back. I would have taken him back at 1 year, 20. I'd give him 3 years at 40. But if the Cubs are going to give him 3 years at 60, listen, at 3 years at 40, he's not going to pitch that contract.
Yeah.
He's not going to pitch that contract. His body is broken down. You get what you get out of Brandon Woodruff, and you pray that it works out.
What about the Brewers, though? They're probably the most willing team to give him a long-term deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for him to turn down 1 year, $20 million must mean that he either thinks he can get 3 years at 60, or he'll take 3 years at 40, knowing he can't even get that, knowing that he's willing to take that because he knows his body is not going to survive 3 years at 40, but he's going to give the Brewers that 3 years at 40 because you know what? 40 is more than 20. And if he goes out this year and pitches 1 at 20 and gets hurt again, now he's taking $5 million deals the rest of his career.
Right. And
just
the Brewers
already
paid him a year to not play. That was already a part of their plan with him. Also, on top of this, the team declined its end of the option on Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
They declined.
I didn't, by the way, if you looked at the rundown, I didn't even know Danny Jansen. I deleted the Danny Jansen line. That's not
realistically.
No.
Eric Haas should have just been the backup catcher all year, and just chalk it up, whatever. It didn't matter to make that move at the deadline, in my opinion, and it should have just probably rode with Eric Haas. Was he good? No. Was Danny Jansen good? No. So
I think the thought was, and I would give them the better. Listen, if Contreras really needed to miss 2 weeks, you feel better with Jansen's bat than Haas's bat,
maybe,
but based on track record,
maybe
based on power numbers. I mean,
based on Brewers' track record,
he was at 11 home runs.
Yeah,
so he was on pace to hit 20. If he was an everyday catcher.
Yeah, and he did not. He
wasn't an everyday catcher with the Brewers, and they ended up not needing that because Contreras ended up playing. Contreras ended up playing, they would have been better off keeping Haas. But I think they got Jansen because they trusted him more as an everyday catcher. If it got to that, thankfully for the Brewers, it never got to that. But if it did, they trusted Jansen more.
The Brewers also declined their options on William Contreras. However, he remains under club control and is arbitration eligible. Right, so don't worry about that now.
All the Corbin Burns fans are freaking out about that.
He's got like 3 years of arbitration still.
I know it's stupid.
But listen, the
Corbin Burns fans. And you know what? Brewers fans, Corbin Burns was the idiot there, not the Brewers.
Well,
you don't go to your own arbitration hearing ever. That's it. That's the end of the sentence. You write it in Sharpie. You put a period at the end of the sentence. You never go to your own arbitration hearing.
Why?
Because all they do is talk crap about you.
Yeah.
Bad.
I would like to hear it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Absolutely.
No.
I'm going to go get,
No,
I'll go find myself another team that'll just pay me a big deal then if they don't want to find a way to do it.
You don't have that control.
What do you mean? That's exactly what Corbin Burns did.
Well, the other team controls your contract.
Right. And then Corbin Burns was like, hey, trade me. Traded. Hey, I'm going to go get a big deal. Got a big deal. Like, that's exactly what he did.
No. I mean, he was going to get a big deal with anybody once he got out of
but
arbitration.
I'm sure Corbin Burns wanted to hear the Brewers out.
He still had to play a year under Brewers control as a pissed off little baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he wanted to prove that he is worth more money than the Brewers were trying to. I have no problem with what Corbin Burns did.
He didn't.
I have no problem with what Corbin Burns did.
Okay. Going to your arbitration hearing is a mistake on every single level.
Yeah, I mean,
100% of the time. There's no debate here. Like, it is absolutely the worst thing to do.
I think it depends on your mindset with it, where it's like if you think everything is sunshine and rainbows, then you go in
crapped on all the time.
If you're a guy who wants to hear that and use that as motivation, that can absolutely be something positive in a way too.
I hear what you're saying, but I think it's worse than you think. I don't think it's used for motivation. I don't think anyone has the ability to use what you hear in an arbitration hearing as motivation.
You know what some teams do? You know what they do?
No.
Jackson Churrio's never going to go to arbitration. You want to know why? Because they signed him. Because they really believed in him and wanted to go with that.
Also because
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Also because there's a new trend in baseball because teams and players figured this out.
Okay, yeah, again, with younger guys. Like they've done it with Bobby Witt. Never going to have to go to arbitration because he signed his long-term deal.
Which is smart.
Yes.
But that didn't exist for 20, 30 years. So, like, it's great that it's existed the last 2 years.
And it was eligible. You were allowed to do it.
But no one ever did it.
Yeah,
like it it didn't exist.
Because teams probably realized
that could have happened.
Because teams realized that it was, you know what? Instead of hurting their feelings, why don't we pay the guy who's really good on our team?
Absolutely.
I feel like that's exactly what people want to do. Rhys Hoskins.
Now they do.
And Jose Quintana's options as well declined by the Milwaukee Brewers.
Are you sad about Rhys a little bit?
No, not at all.
Really?
Totally fine to get Rhys Hoskins off the team.
No, I mean, just about like that it could have worked out better.
Nope. Not a single bit.
Really?
Nothing. No. You're talking to the number one Jake Bauers, Stan, first of all.
I know,
so that also and what Andrew Vaughn did last year, now the Brewers have control of him. Like,
man, you just don't like people.
No, I'm just saying that Rhys Hoskins, how many Brewers fans are sad about Rhys Hoskins not working out, not leaving, or not staying? I can't imagine after the last 2 years what you saw from him, in which he had a really good beginning of this season and spurts last year.
That wasn't my question. Do you feel bad about the way it worked out for him here? Not like, do you
sure
like,
that he was injured? Right. Yes, I feel bad for that.
Like if he came back and he had been healthy and he had been Philly Rhys Hoskins, that they could have caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
Sure, but I also don't think that Andrew Vaughn or Jake Bauers were any reason to not be the starting first baseman in the playoffs based on what they did in the regular season and on what they performed in the postseason. Like, that was the right choice.
Are you comfortable with Vaughn and Bauers as your first baseman next year?
Yeah, I don't know if Jake Bauer. I think Jake Bauers is
he a free agent?
Yeah, he might be.
Is he
pretty sure Vaughn has 2 years of control
Vaughn
now.
They have control over.
Yeah, so I think what you saw out of Andrew Vaughn last year, you're totally talking about this is like totally fine right now.
Tim writes in on YouTube, I can't believe it. I'm listening to two gentlemen agree to disagree in 2025. My God, there is a chance. Listen, as a society, we need more of that, right? We just need more of like agreeing to disagree and doing it like and still loving each other and treating each other with respect. Randy in Greendale writes in, the one thing I think will happen is the Brewers will offer Woodruff a 1-year, $22.025 million contract.
Yeah, I do think it's the most likelihood that he does resign in Milwaukee.
Well, no, because that gives the Brewers a guaranteed compensatory pick if somebody else signs him.
At the end of the first round. Yep.
So that is real as well. By the way, I saw Sparky tweet something out. The Packers are going to get a pick next year because the Vikings did something.
Because of Ben Sims.
Oh, Ben Sims.
Yep.
Oh, well, we got to talk about that with Andy Herman because I think as much as we like getting picks, I kind of think the Packers would rather have Ben Sims right now. Do you agree? I don't know. By the way, Essen Nobles, we're not ignoring you. Did Roger Goodell really say that the NFL is now sports entertainment?
I
I
mean,
didn't hear him say that, but
first of all,
isn't that what the NFL is?
wasn't that ignorant not to think that beforehand? Like, I think it totally is. That's exactly what all sports
But it's not WWE.
Right, but sports are entertainment. Like, that's
So is NFL sports entertainment and WWE is entertainment sports?
maybe, but
Like
I
student
don't
athlete student.
I don't doubt the athleticism of WWE people.
No, right.
So I recognize it as athletic feats.
I also don't doubt that people who play in college are students. I would just say they're athletes first. Like football players are athlete students, not student athletes. Like the NFL is sports entertainment. It's sports.
You can
first,
bet on WWE, can't you? And that's
not in America.
Well,
in the UK you can.
There you go. So again,
well, in the UK we beat them in a war though. So
yeah, twice, by the way.
But who's counting?
Yeah.
He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder. This is Thunder and Tommy on the Mason Crosby Show. We're presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We'll go over the college football rankings real quick when we come back. And then Andy Herman at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. Pack a Day podcast. He's our best friend. You're listening to Thunder and Tommy on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We're in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Remember, you can listen to us wherever you listen to everything. So if you're listening to podcasts, if you're listening to audio, Spotify, Apple, wherever, all the different audio apps, we're there as well. Just search the Mason Crosby Show, and you can listen hour by hour, segment by segment, show by show, however you want to listen. We are there for you. Andy Herman coming up in just a few minutes here. We've already covered Giannis and the Bucks and the Brewers. Of course, we're going to talk Packers with Andy Herman. But the first college football rankings came out this year, and 1 through 3 were of no surprise at all: Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Before we go any further, we got a couple minutes here, Tommy. Let's go back like 7 years in the Tommy machine.
Okay.
So doodle. Is there any Earth that you could have envisioned living on where the Indiana Hoosiers were the number 2 ranked football team in America, and the Wisconsin Badgers were the worst team in the Big Ten?
No.
Whatever's going on with Indiana,
sense.
that should have been Wisconsin, right? This is where Wisconsin should be.
It could have been Wisconsin at least. Yes.
What? Like, I'm still. I know I shouldn't be at a loss. Like I've seen this. I've heard this. I've seen it develop over the last couple of years. We've all seen it develop over the last couple of years. I can't believe we live on an earth where the Indiana Hoosiers are the second-ranked football team in college football, and the Wisconsin Badgers are the worst team.
And it's
in
not
the Big
even.
Ten.
And the part about it is like it's not even a doubt. Like Indiana 100% is the second best team in college football.
Killing people
they
right
look
now.
awesome. Yeah, they look great. They got their guy. I mean, that's all. That's what it's about, right? You got to find your guy. Kurt Cignetti is their guy, and they got Fernando Mendoza in the portal, which was also shortlist Badger candidate this offseason too, and he looks great. He's going to get invited to New York for the Heisman ceremony, and Kurt Cignetti isn't going anywhere. He just signed his extension there as well to make sure that he is at Indiana, building something at Indiana. You got to find your guy. The Badgers didn't find their guy. They thought they did. They did not find their guy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So 1 through 4, Alabama rounds out the top 4. Georgia then 5, Ole Miss then 6. So you got 3 SEC schools right there. Did you also think that once Indiana lost to Notre Dame last year, that it was kind of over? That was their fairy tale. They had a fairy tale season. They got whooped by in-state Notre Dame. That was kind of it. I kind of thought that'd be it. And not that they'd be terrible this year, but that they'd go back away to 500 or
right.
whatever.
Sure. I also thought that now I also think that Indiana is the only chance Ohio State has to not win the national title. It's crazy how it's shifted so hard. But
anything else jump out to you from the rankings?
I'm going to talk about it from 5 to 6 today, but I actually want to dive into where do we rank the Badgers' job now a little bit too, because
and now Auburn jumped into it too.
The Athletic article just came out today, put them as the 10th best job in the Big Ten. Is that true? Because I'm going to be sad if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. He's Tommy. I'm Thunder. We're Thunder and Tommy in for Mason Crosby, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. That's Verizon, of course. And we're in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Andy Herman is next.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome into hour number 2 of Thunder and Tommy here on the Mason Crosby Show. We're presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Lots of trades yesterday in the NFL. The New York Jets are now the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NFL. They own 14 first-round picks in the next 3 years. All right, that's not true. But they do own quite a bit more than the average Joe, I would say.
Yeah.
Picking up lots of picks. You know what? I have nothing wrong with declaring bankruptcy on your current team and planning for the future.
You had,
I just don't trust the Jets.
The number 1 overall pick for Packers podcasters. You're on the clock. Who are you taking?
Andy Herman?
Oh,
is there a question?
Andy Herman?
Do I have to think about Aaron? I mean, I love Aaron Nagler. Like, let's be honest. Like, Nags is great. Bukowski's good dude. But I mean, they're all like, they're fighting for number 2 because number 1 is the man, the myth, the legend, the alpha, Andy Herman. Hi, Andy.
Fellas, how you doing? Thank you for the intro. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
well,
of course.
When you're the alpha, and you just own it, and you just move on with the day.
Hey, why didn't the Packers make any trades? Let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
Should we have expected trades, or should we have been like, yo, you guys got Micah Parsons at the beginning of the year?
And should we
relax.
just be fans of different teams now because we hate the Packers now?
Yes. No. So I think there's been 2 trade deadline deals in the history of the franchise. Neither of them really amounted to anything. So no, probably shouldn't have expected anything. It's always fun to, think of who they could get and conjecture and discuss and water cooler it and figure out what trades would be fun and do fake trades and whatnot. But I think a couple things played into this. One is obviously going, kind of all in and getting Micah Parsons right before the season, limiting your sort of future draft capital. If you're looking for like a player for player, A, those things are really tough. B, some of the positions that maybe would be deemed strengths like wide receiver and defensive end are beat up at the moment. Jaden Reed is out, Dontavian Wicks is out, Christian Watson just got back. So and Matthew Golden just had the shoulder injury. Defensive end, Brenton Cox is on IR. Colin Oliver hasn't come back yet. And then, LVN is still coming back from injury as well. So some of those areas, you don't have anything to kind of trade away. I think the bigger thing is Goody's, as we've seen, not afraid of making a trade. Goody is very much not wanting to get involved in what is a seller's market and not a buyer's market when he's looking to be a buyer. If you look at the trades yesterday, I would argue maybe Rasheen Shaheed was one that was a pretty, solid deal, but Green Bay didn't need him, obviously. Other than that, everything was a pretty big seller's market where I thought everything was kind of an overpay for what the team gave up to get said player. So I don't think Goody was probably super interested. If there was going to be anything, it was probably going to be like a 5th round pick for like a tight end or a rotational corner or things like that. And we'll see what happens with this Asante Samuel stuff where he's going to come and visit. Green Bay has interest in him per numerous reports. So maybe that's going to kind of be their big swing at the fence at the quote unquote trade deadline. But I don't think we should be stunned why Green Bay didn't make a trade yesterday.
I want to put the tight end conversation on the back burner. I definitely want to come back to it. But Asante Samuel, we got to go right there. Cleared a physical. I think it's exciting that the Packers are interested and might want to bring him in. But I'm guessing that there are 10 teams that if Asante Samuel is really healthy, there's 10 teams interested. What do the Packers need to do? Do they need Asante Samuel with the Hobbs injury situation? And how do they separate themselves, or how do they make sure that, like, when he comes to Green Bay, he doesn't leave Green Bay?
Yeah. Are they the sexiest option?
They might very well be.
Tommy, you're the sexiest option. Come on.
Thank you.
Number 1 pick as well. So a couple things. There's been 3 teams that he's going to work out for reportedly so far. Carolina is first. And then in some order, he's going to go see Green Bay and Minnesota. So there's been 3 reported teams that have significant interest and he's going to go work out with. Why I think Green Bay is actually a very smart option for Asante Samuel and why this makes sense is, one, what he's mostly looking for is a team where he can go out, play a ton, play really well, and recoup his value because he's going to sign a 1 year remainder of the year deal, right? It's not going to be anything long term. So he wants to be able to go out and play well. So in free agency next year, he can get a big contract. So he's not looking to go to any team that's just going to have him in a rotational role or bench him or anything like that. He wants to play right away. Well, Green Bay has the ability right away to say, yep, you can come in and compete and probably play at outside corner. That's not a big deal. We're going to get you on the field. Yep. The second thing is that there is real familiarity here with Derek Ansley, who he worked with as his defensive backs coach as a member of the Chargers. And per reports, they are still close. And,
nice.
There's a possibility that could play a factor in this as well. And then I think the other thing, man, if you're going to sign for a team on a 1 year remainder of the season sort of contract, I mean, it probably doesn't hurt if you have the opportunity to win a Super Bowl and are at least a team that's competing as well, right? Like Carolina, I know just beat Green Bay, but I don't think anyone's got them on their Super Bowl bingo card. Same, Minnesota just upset Detroit, but I don't think anyone's got them on their Super Bowl bingo card. Green Bay is still very much in that conversation. You add another good corner to that list, and it makes some sense there as well. And then I'm sure the last thing is, a little bit of that dollars and cents will probably play into this as well. But if you start looking at, Green Bay's got the salary cap space. That is not an issue. They don't have to clear anything. They have plenty of it if they want to use it. They've got the connection with Ansley. They've got the starting spot available. And again, they have an opportunity to go out and win. That seems like a pretty enticing pitch to one Asante Samuel Jr.
And you make it sound so easy. Is it that, regardless of Carolina and Minnesota, is it that easy in a Goody world? Also now under policy though, where maybe there's that desire more to make a move, especially after the Parsons move. Is it that simple that in a Goody world, if they like Samuel, if Samuel likes them, do they make it happen? Or is there still some of that Green Bay Packers stigma of like, we don't sign free agents, we don't go outside the organization, et cetera, et cetera?
I don't think there's anything like that. I mean, they've signed a ton of free agents. They just traded for Micah Parsons. So I don't think there's anything like that. I think where this just could potentially get complicated is if everything's equal, but Minnesota's offering $1 million more, or Carolina's offering $1 million more, is Green Bay willing to match that? Green Bay has been pretty cautious with, I know people always say like, well, Green Bay signs people who've been injured all the time, but not like big time injuries, not like neck injuries, not things like that. They've kind of shied away from that. So when they bring him in, I'm sure they're going to run him through the gamut of all the physical and all that sort of stuff to make sure that he's 100% good to go. But if he passes the physical, he wants to be here. They want him and everything checks out. Ansley gives him a good report. I mean, I do think, again, that there is a logical conclusion to jump to that this does make sense for both sides.
Andy Herman, Pack a Day Podcast, joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Andy, one more question about Asante Samuel. Is it going to take a multi-year deal to get this done wherever he goes? Does he want some security, it sounds like? Or is this something where it could be one and done if Green Bay makes maybe an enticing 1 year offer and then they can evaluate at the end of the year?
Yeah, if I'm him and his agent, I mean, if some team's willing to give him like a 4 year, $60 million deal or something, then yeah, of course, I'm going to take that a million times over $1 million. I don't think it makes sense for any franchise to do that based on the injury that just happened. And I think what makes sense for both sides, regardless of where he goes, is to sign a 1 year deal for the remainder of this season. For that team, they get the rental, they get somebody that can help them for the remainder of the year. They get to see if he can stay healthy and what kind of shape he's in, and if he can go out and play good defense without having to put any long-term money into it. And for Asante Samuel, again, he's looking to go out, play his best brand of football so that he can get back on the market in March as a unrestricted free agent and get the most amount of money possible when maybe there's more teams that are willing to bid for him at that point in time.
Andy Herman joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Gruber Law Guest Hotline. Let's look at tight end. And I don't know if you want to talk about, the effects of the injury of Tucker Kraft, what Luke Musgrave has to do now to step up, why the Packers wouldn't trade a 5th or a 6th rounder for tight end depth, and what the loss of Ben Sims means and affects this whole potpourri of tight end chaos as well. So you
It's a
have
lot
the floor, tight ends.
It's a lot of questions. Let's see if I can nail as many as possible. All right. So first of all, I mean, everyone knows I'm not breaking any news here. The Kraft injury is devastating on so many levels. All right. So first of all, just as a pure, we've seen all these teams play a lot of too high safeties against Green Bay. And one of the superpowers that Kraft has is his yards after the catch ability. I think he not only leads the team, I think he was like 4th in the league going into last week. And I think he had more than the rest of the Packers team combined. You lose one of your true superpowers on offense with his run after the catch ability, but it's so much more than that. He's been a red zone threat. He's been somebody that gets your offense going, has sort of been that catalyst for the offense. He's a captain. He's a team leader. He's the guy that brings the energy that again, is, like I said, the catalyst and gets everyone going on offense. He's able to lawn dart his way into random situations and get extra yardage when you don't think anything's there. But it's even beyond that. You have his ability as a blocker. We're not talking Mercedes Lewis or like even George Kittle-esque, but he's a good blocker at tight end. And your number one replacement with with Luke Musgrave is a very bad blocker. So on a run unit that's already struggling with their offensive line to run block, now you're downgrading the run blocking at the tight end position as well. So this is captain, this is intangibles, this is red zone, this is run after the catch. He's a better receiving tight end, and he's a better blocking tight end. You are losing in every stretch of the imagination by losing Tucker Kraft. Not great. The good news is that Luke Musgrave is still a good tight end, and I do think he's still we saw it in a very small sample size at the end of last game, 3 catches, and showed again what he's capable of. And in a weird way, he kind of fits as like a primary receiving tight end more than he fits in any other role. He's not a number 3 tight end because he can't play special teams and he can't block. He's not a great complementary tight end. He kind of needs to be the guy that you're targeting at tight end, or he kind of has no value. So now he actually is in a role where he has value again. And, it's only a couple of years ago where he was the number 1 tight end on this team on a very successful offense. So they're just going to have to reintegrate him and sort of utilize his strengths. What I'd like to see out of Musgrave is a little bit more of a red zone threat. He has not been a red zone threat at all in his career. And I'd like to see him get up the seam a little bit more and see if he can stretch the field with some of his speed. That's where I want to see that from him. And I still think there's ways to utilize him.
Tommy just wants him to not fall down so much.
He falls down literally every time he touches the ball.
Again, that's where, you're going from Mr. Best yards after the catch tight end of the league to like negative yards after the catch, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a problem. That's a big problem. So they're going to have to figure out again how Musgrave fits in certain situations, what he does well, and utilize him in different ways than you use Kraft, because they're 2 totally different types of tight ends. Ben Sims hurting is a bummer. I don't think it mitigates anything all that much. It would have been nice to have him as a number 3 tight end. He's probably an upgrade over Josh Wiley, but it's not anything super crazy. As far as why they didn't make the trade, I think the biggest thing that I would say here is that it probably just takes 2 to tango. And, if you want that tight end, you can't just, say like, hey, I want Michael Mayer, I will give you a 5th round pick. The Raiders are like, well, no, we don't want to give him up for a 5th round pick. Like, I know he's our number 2, but we have no interest in doing that. And so like they say, well, we want a 3, and Green Bay's, well, we're not going to give a 3 for Michael Mayer. Can you be serious for a moment? So I just think it probably comes down a little bit more to, the cost of some of those players. And then when you get into like Chiga Conquo was available from the Titans. Is that, he's undersized. He's a receiving tight end. He can't block. He might be a worse blocker than Musgrave. Does that actually add anything? Or are you just getting a worse version of Luke Musgrave? So sometimes doing something for the sake of doing something isn't actually doing anything. You're not actually gaining any progress. And I think in this case, letting Musgrave and Fitzpatrick, who are probably the 2 best options of something that you could have found at a realistic price, makes sense. I always liked Wiley as I think it was a 5th round pick in 2023. He's a solid receiving tight end. I'm interested to see. Sometimes these tight ends take a few years to develop, and maybe he's just in that sweet spot. We'll see. But it's no matter what, this all goes back to, it's a devestating loss with Tucker Kraft. Did I answer all of them? Did I miss one?
Yeah. No,
sounds good to me.
That was good.
Andy, I have a question about this Packers offense. Are they going to be in an identity crisis this second half of the season? Because it felt like they were maybe leaning into Tucker Kraft being a part of that identity, and they were going to maybe let Jordan Love sling a little bit and, do whatever he wants with Tucker on the field. And Josh Jacobs, it hasn't really been the same this year as it was last year with Green Bay. And now Tucker Kraft goes down and the offensive line can't run block for anything. Like, I feel like the offense is in an identity crisis heading into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's the second half, but I think they've been in one in the first half of the season, so I do think that they have got to figure out who they want to be. And this is one of my criticisms of Matt, is it feels like the identity is, what does the other team do poorly? And we want to attack that, which is not a bad idea in general. I just don't know that it can be the core of who you are as a team, especially as teams change up things week to week. And other coaches are really good at scheming things too and changing things up when you least expect it. So I don't think that can be the core. And I think Green Bay has to figure out, well, what part of your run offense works well? How can you run the ball effectively? They haven't really figured that out yet. And then, now losing Tucker Kraft, your key run after the catch, if all these teams are going to play two high safeties, your biggest run after the catch player is now out for the season. We know you want to be a downfield, deep passing offense, but again, teams are playing soft zone. You got to get them out of that first before you can attack down the field. So they have to figure out how they're going to go about doing that. Clearly, some of the horizontal stuff has not been working the way that they want, or I think any Packers fans has wanted it to work at this point in time. And when you all of a sudden start looking down at the play sheet and say, well, we're not running the ball effectively, all of our jet sweeps and our outside screens aren't working the way that we want, we can't pass down the field because they're playing too soft of a zone on us, and the middle of the field is all jammed up because, again, we're not stretching the field horizontally, you start looking at the play sheet and be like, all right, what are we going to go to here? So I think that has to be what they figure out, is how you kind of sequence some of this stuff together. That's all still with, I think, like a top 10 offense in this league. And whether you want to look at DVOA or points or however you want to view it, they're still really good. It just feels like there's so much more out there for them, and they just have to find a better rhythm and consistency.
And Andy, let's get to another hard hitter. Matt LaFleur under a lot of criticism over his performances in the losses, specifically for Green Bay. And traditionally, I would probably say pump the brakes. And this is a 5-2-1 team, so things are going well. They're in the NFC North. They're the top team in a very competitive division. But for the first time against Carolina, he's saying things like, we knew exactly what they were going to do, and this is right where we thought they would be. And it just seems like, if you knew this, why didn't you have any counteraction towards what Carolina was going to do to try and control the ball game the way they did and ultimately give you the second loss of the season? Like Matt LaFleur right now, I'm not saying that his seat should be hot.
You just fired Matt LaFleur, dude.
But I'm saying that we need to remember these two losses and these two performances when that conversation ultimately might come up. And some already have wanted him fired, right? Some are already just calling for his job right now. Where are you right now on Matt LaFleur as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we talked about is, from the identity standpoint, is who do you want to be and what do you want to do? And again, you hear what Matt said, like, well, this is where we thought this game was going to be. This is what we thought they were going to do. Okay, what do you want? I want less focus on what the other team is doing and what they're. Right. I want you go out and play your game. You make it so that they have to bend to your will, not that you're moving everything around and changing the pieces every week based on what the other. Of course, there's going to be scheming and game planning, but again, there has to be something that you can lean on. Yes, that you have that you can lean on, that you're going to be good at every single week. So I just think there has to be that mentality of like, we're the best. We're going to go out and crush this team. Yes, you have to be prepared for them, but I don't want this of like, well, we have to be cautious because we know they're going to come in and play us stuff. No, go out for the kill. Go out and play a 4-quarter game and get your side of the house fixed up first, so that these penalties and the mistakes and all the stuff that we've seen over and over, the special teams and the missed kicks, etc., don't continue to happen. And I think that's when you're going to start seeing this team play better. And all that's the question. Here's the thing with Matt and for the hot seat and everything like that, right? Everyone understands the expectations for this team. When you trade for Micah Parsons, you're inviting, hey, it's Super Bowl time. You are inviting the expectations. And Goody has said all along, like, hey, we understand what the expectations are in Green Bay every year. You may understand that the expectations are Super Bowl. You go get Micah Parsons on a team that was already considered to be a fringe / legitimate contender, and now it's all in. It's all full steam ahead. So if this is a team that goes on a huge losing streak and doesn't make the playoffs, or falters towards the end and the same mistakes pop up and they have a similar game to like Philly in the playoffs week one of the playoffs a year ago, where they lose right away and it wasn't really competitive, then yeah, all of those things are going to come up. All of those questions are going to be asked, and the Packers are going to have to decide what they do in that situation. But we're also talking about a team, despite the teams that they lost to, that has lost 2 games, the same as every other team in the NFL. Every team's that lost at least 2 games. They've lost by a combined 6 points. They've been the better team on the field in all 8 games. That can be a credit or an indictment of Matt LaFleur. However you want to view it, you can make an argument either way. But they've been the better team in all 8 games. And again, they've lost by a total of 6 points. So I think that there is still a lot out there. And the biggest thing that I look at is you got to fix your side of the house. And the other thing is, I do think if and when this team starts to block a little bit better and actually get turnovers, which has been a huge issue for them, you're going to start seeing this team play a totally different style of football. Now, whether they can do that or not, that will be the ultimate sign of what this season's going to bring the rest of the way.
All right, 2 more quick ones for you then, Andy.
Taking all the questions today.
Do you have one?
What do you mean?
Do you want to go with one? Go for it.
No. I want to hear where you're going, Tom.
Well, what is that point?
Just don't ask about the kicker.
What is that point for Matt LaFleur? If this team doesn't win a playoff game, like all of a sudden, like everyone's heads turn. If this team doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, like what is that point?
Here's where I'm at with everything. A missed playoffs plus a lost locker room, and I think he's gone, would be my guess. I think it has to be missing the playoffs and losing the locker room. If those things happen, I think there's a very strong chance there's a new coach in Green Bay next year. If it's a missed playoffs, but the locker room believes in him, they love him, they like him, etc. Everything seems they're still fighting for him. I think he probably is back next year on the remainder of his 1 year that's left in basically a it's now or never sort of season, all pressure on. If it's, again, one and done in the playoffs, lost the locker room, a lot of questions, potentially gone in that situation. One and done in the playoffs, locker room loves him, still everything is good, they're fighting for him, probably back on the 1 year sort of deal. Anything above and beyond that, winning a playoff game and then losing, or going to the championship game and losing, Super Bowl and losing, or Super Bowl obviously and winning, I think he's back, and I don't think there's much question about it. How he earns that extension, though, and makes it so that it's not a lame duck year and it's like a long-term lucrative extension, he's going to have to make noise in the playoffs. I think it's going to take at least an NFC championship game and maybe even reaching the Super Bowl to get that anything other than maybe like a 1 year extension, which really doesn't mean much of anything.
Are we just gonna have 2 kickers on the roster for the rest of the year? So is that a good football decision, Andy?
It's the stupidest thing. All right, so
thank you.
This is the most Packers thing ever. Where I don't know if you saw the stat from our buddy Dare Krieger, who covers the team over at Packer Report. The Packers have less than 5 yards per punt return this season. The last team to do that was the 2020 Packers.
Yep.
And the last team to do it before that was the 2019 Packers. It's so stupid. And then you can't feel the returner. And it's so much to the point that when Romeo Doubs just catches the ball and gets 5 yards, it feels amazing. We're like, oh, hell yeah, they've got a returner. He can catch the ball and get 5 yards on a play. And that is like historically bad. That's like historically bad. All right. Yep. So that's number one. Number two, only Green Bay would have a whole nother position for a second kicker. And when the first one is struggling and not making kicks and still hurt per Matt LaFleur, the second kicker on the roster, they're still like, nah, we're not going to use that guy. We're not going to use him. And then even when they've decided we're going to go with McManus, we're still holding on to the second kicker. That makes no sense. Also, just to add on to this beautiful special teams, potpourri, swarm of love, we have an all-pro kick returner for 2 seasons that is not returning kicks in the season that more kicks are being returned than ever before. Nothing about Packer special teams ever makes a lick of sense. And no matter which way you look at it, it just remains the fact, no matter who's the special teams coach or anything else like that.
I hate all of them.
No comp pick for Ben Sims, by the way.
What is the comp pick then? Aren't they lined up for a comp pick because of the signing?
They should have comp picks coming next year when people are signed away. If like Romeo Doubs, Rasheed Walker, Sean Ryan, etc., sign elsewhere. But that's an in-season, or not an in-season. That's an off-season thing where if people leave in unrestricted free agency, that then there's a comp pick formula depending on how many players you sign against how many players they were signed away from you and things like that. And it gets very complicated very fast. But no, Ben Sims does not factor into the comp pick formula.
Well, Wendell Fajeda, another one of our really good friends, they were not initially projected to comp pick in 2026, but now thanks to the Vikings, it sounds like they will because of this. And maybe it's Eric Wilson. Is that used as a comp pick for it in that way?
That's interesting. I'll have to look at that a little bit because Sims should not affect that as far as I'm aware. But maybe Eric Wilson could. But did they release Eric Wilson? I'll have to.
According to it, former Packer linebacker Eric Wilson has become a defensive starter for the Vikings, and the number of snaps he plays is part of a comp pick for the formula.
Gotcha.
And because they lost, is it Cashman, like for a little bit of time, or whoever? Maybe it's Van Ginkel, and he's working his way in. According to Wendell Fajeda, it is
salary and snaps.
They're lined up for a chance to maybe get a comp pick out of it.
If so, that's going to be like it like might literally be Mr. Irrelevant. But maybe Green Bay gets Mr. Irrelevant, so that's not the worst thing in the world either.
Brock Purdy coming to the Green Bay Packers.
And can Giannis get a foul call?
No,
can you make
he
that
cannot.
happen?
It is really remarkable, some of the stuff that happens in that regard. I'll just I know last night was a back-to-back in Toronto. You could see that one coming a mile away, but I do really enjoy how this team is playing so far. I'm hoping that when Kevin Porter gets back, you get a little bit more depth there at the guard position as well.
I think he'll add some juice.
I do too. I think there's you need one more piece, maybe, figure out something, but I enjoyed this team so far, and that's all I could have asked for going into the year.
He's Andy Herman, Pack a Day Podcast at Andy Herman NFL. Find the Pack a Day Podcast everywhere where you listen to your podcast. Andy, thanks so much for jumping on. We'll listen to you throughout the week on all of our shows here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and you'll be right back here next Wednesday. So we won't have a chance to talk before Monday night's game, but I know you'll enjoy that. I don't know if I want to ask you for a prediction at this point, but would anything surprise you at this point?
No, if it was Philly by 20, Packers by 20, or anything in between, I'd be like, yep, that totally checks out. So all I say is I'm more afraid of the Giants game on the road than I am about Philly at home. That's just the way that this Packers team has played so far.
Amen, brother. Andy, thanks so much for jumping on today.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
You bet. Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL. Follow him all over all the socials. Pack a Day Podcast does amazing work every day on YouTube, just churning out content and awesomeness and greatness, etc. I threw up a question on Facebook. Why do you like sports? The Brewers lost in the playoffs. Kraft is hurt and the Packers lost to the Panthers. Giannis can't get a call. Remind me why you like sports. It's up on the Thunder MKE Facebook page. We've got a ton of response. We'll get to that next right here on Thunder and Tommy. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. You're listening to Thunder and Tommy on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Again, our thanks to Andy Herman for jumping on the show. He was on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Looking at some college basketball coming up. I think we have, do we have a game? Yeah, we got Marquette.
Yep.
Marquette hosting Southern tonight at the Fiserv Forum.
Where
Southern
is
University.
Southern? Is that on the East Coast?
Yeah, it's a historically black university. So I think it's like Southeast. I want to say
South Carolina.
Yeah, I should know this. Southern and Grambling play in like a big football game every year. Southern University. Oh, what do you got?
It is in Baton Rouge.
Oh, Baton Rouge. Okay, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
LSU looking for a new coach. We'll see. And they fired their AD. Did you see that whole story in LSU?
Yeah, well, the last coach that AD hired was Jimbo. So that was,
right.
Which is the worst buyout in the history of buyouts.
Right.
So
he had the Jimbo buyout and the Brian Kelly buyout. Like, that seems like a horrible, horrible place.
over $100 million in buyouts.
Yeah. Does that money even exist? Like,
I mean, if you win football games, who cares, right?
Right.
That's all it is.
Right. That's the if, though.
But again, like LSU's going to fire their coach and go 8-4.
Right.
Like the Badgers are
going to go 2-10.
2-10, trying to like decide if they're going to or not.
So speaking of going 2-10, I asked on the Thunder MKE Facebook page, why do you like sports? Like, the Badgers stink. The Packers lost to the Panthers. The Brewers keep losing in the playoffs. Giannis can't get a call. Like, why do we like sports? Sean wrote in, because I hate myself. I mean, that's like, I feel like you're speaking Tommy's language right away.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Dan writes in, great entertainment, watching what I love to do as a kid be done at an amazing level, the thrill of competition, the opportunity to see something that you have never seen before, the joy of watching someone reach their goals. Man, that went from greatness to awfulness real quickly. Michael says, many of us have played sports and we're not too good. It is great to watch how good the players are. It takes our minds off of what is going on in the world for a few hours. That's fair. Heidi says, supporting the team is a lot like investing in your own life journey. You don't always win, but the goal is to enjoy the ride. This past year's Brewers team was one of the most inspiring in a long time. I'm grateful to them for their dedication and teamwork.
We are the worst stock traders ever.
Yes,
Like,
yes, we are.
But
But listen, I will, on some level, I agree with that. Like, that, it was a phenomenal ride for the state of Wisconsin to be on with the Brewers this year. And it did not end the way any of us wanted it to. But you play 162 games. You play baseball for 6+ months. And for 6+ months, like, I don't want to say we did what Mark Attanasio told us to do. We were entertained. We want winning. But it was pretty awesome. And it was winning baseball. I mean, they had the best record in all Major League Baseball.
They just played right into Mark's hands, though. Again, summer of entertainment and fun and passion. And then the fall, just everything falls.
Yep. Evan says, it keeps me feeling connected with Wisconsin, even though I haven't lived there in over 20 years. It's very fun when your team's doing well. Watching athletes at the highest level is inspiring. It's also always a safe topic amongst family and friends. Timothy writes, well, I think that's a political conversation.
Sure,
like,
but I mean,
what?
Yeah.
But you don't like that?
Sometimes it's not safe.
Oh, right. Well,
sports sometimes gets more heated than politics at my family gatherings.
Well, it's because some of your family don't know what they're talking about, or they root for the wrong teams.
Yeah, that's
frankly
fair. Yeah.
Timothy writes in on YouTube, why do I watch? To see my darn team to win a chip, but never take the regular season for granted. And I think that's kind of where we are as Wisconsin fans. I do think we've been let down by the Bucks the past few years. I know injuries have been a big part of that, but it's been pretty tough. Dean says, many years ago, I remember hearing, he writes some guy's name I've never heard of before, Stev Kazaban. Is that a guy that I should know? I'm just kidding. He says, I remember hearing Zabe say that being a sports fan is a poor emotional investment. I think we can all agree on that, right?
I mean, when you're talking about the highest of highs, like, it's the best emotional investment.
But how often do you get there?
Well, it depends. Like, you coming from Boston, you got there every year, it felt like.
Yes.
So I think if we're going off of, well, if the only good investment is championship, like, you got to go back to 21 with the Bucks and then 2011 with the Packers, right? So yeah, it's a terrible 10-year investment into your emotions, but when it hits, it hits like no other.
Yeah. Joe says entertainment, take our minds off the real world. And Ben says it's a disconnect from the world today. I want you to forget all the outside BS. And I think that's a common theme that we're hearing on the Thunder MKE Facebook page. Is that's why we love sports, is that unless you're at Tommy's Thanksgiving, it is a safe space in general. Not always. I mean, listen, like I married into a Tennessee family and my father-in-law's brother lives in Birmingham, and they are an Alabama family. And it is like, there is real vitriol. Like they talk so much smack, and it doesn't really get personal, but it gets a little personal. Even in the family, it gets a little personal.
A question for you, talking about your family divide. That's not really too much divided on this, but if Luke Fickell were to lose his job this year, Luke Fickell were to lose his job
at the end of this season,
okay. What is a more enticing job as a head coach to you, Wisconsin or Stanford?
Ooh.
Because Stanford just got a big $50 million donation with Andrew Luck at the helm there. It is probably the only university in which the general manager has more power than the head coach of the program with what Andrew Luck has going on right now. And Stanford also probably hasn't really been that relevant since Andrew Luck, as far as the national landscape goes.
Agreed.
Maybe a couple of fun opportunities there with what was the coach there for the longest time now?
Like Ty Willingham was there.
No.
And then David Shaw was there.
David Shaw is who I was thinking of, and Davis Mills. But I'm just saying, these are two programs that should probably not be that close as far as competitive football nature goes.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think Stanford might be a better job already now than the Wisconsin Badgers.
I mean, the issue that you run up to and you could probably twist it both ways, is that you play in the ACC. And playing the ACC sucks because you're not in the SEC or Big Ten, but you're also in the SEC. ACC, you don't have to compete with all the other teams in the SEC or in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So you can argue that both ways. I think because of that $50 million gift in Andrew Luck, you have to say that right now, this second, Stanford is more attractive than Wisconsin. I think if Wisconsin can figure out who those donors are, who can get together and build that fund, which should be there. Like, frankly, it should be. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be talking on November 5th, 2025 about building that fund.
Yeah.
That fund should have been built 2 years ago.
Yep.
And McIntosh let us down. Whoever the president of the university has let us down. Barry Alvarez has let us down because Barry should have figured this out.
Yeah, I think part of me
should have done this.
I think part of me thinks maybe it's not the case at all, but there's a little bit of Barry with him, being a little bit removed now. Like he's kind of enjoying the crash and burn.
I think he probably is.
Just being like, without me, this is what this place is. You know what I mean?
And so I hold him responsible because he didn't have to let it crash and burn. He could have actually stepped up and been the AD emeritus and saved this whole thing 2 years ago. But instead, his ego probably let him get out of control and say, look at what's happening without me.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's great. But it screws all of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It screws all the fans. It screws the university. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to make him look worse. Right now, it makes him look better. And it feeds his ego. And then he'll die and he won't realize how badly he screwed the university.
I just can't believe that, again, we're having this conversation. The University of Wisconsin for, 25 years was a top 25 job.
Yeah.
And it's not even close to it right now based on what they've done.
I'm going to turn 50 in February.
Yeah.
I remember we did like a birthday dinner, an early birthday dinner when I turned 40. And it was a night out. It was at Central Standard Distillery at their old site down in Walker's Point. And it was the same night that Hornibrook was facing Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
Yep.
And they lost by 6. And they were better than Ohio State record-wise that year, even though Ohio State was the better team.
That was the JT year, right?
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But even losing that game, Wisconsin belonged on that field with Ohio State. Wisconsin could play on the field with any team in the country that year. It doesn't mean they were going to win, but they they belonged on that field. They don't belong on the field with Whitefish Bay right now. And Whitefish Bay is an 8 seed that just They had a couple upsets.
I believe they're 3-13 over the last 2 years against Power 4 teams.
Gross.
Like that just can't happen. Just can't happen.
By the way, Jeff is still watching sports because the truth. Have you seen all the other stuff? Everything else on TV, it's all garbage. TV's not the same as it was when I was a kid. Even when you were a kid.
Even when I was a kid, yeah, there was appointment television still.
Absolutely. This is Thunder and Tommy, part of the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. A quick Thunder watch is next.
thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder, 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 feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder, 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 feel the thunder.
This is Thunder and Tommy on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. And it is that time, that weekly time, generally on Wednesdays, Mike, home day. Instead of Mason's Extra Points, it is Thunder Watch, our weekly look at who we need to keep an extra eye on in the world of Wisconsin sports. And Tommy will give us a recap of who is currently on Thunder Watch. Hold on. You got to hit the button. I hit the button. There we go.
Got it. Update of Thunder Watch. Rich Bisaccia, Luke Fickell, Doc Rivers, Kyle Kuzma, Jimmy Haslam, Chris McIntosh, John Horst, and last week, Nate Hobbs.
Okay. Let's take Kuzma and Horst off.
Okay.
I think Kuzma is playing better than expected. He's not great, but for what his role is, he's doing okay, I feel like.
Yeah, all right, sure.
And Horst has put together a pretty good team. There's still another move they're going to need to make at some point this season. But I think they're okay for now.
All right.
I have a name. It might be early for this name. It's somebody who was on it last season of their season. I don't know if you have a name, Tommy. Any nominees?
I feel like I got a lot of Green Bay Packers.
Right. I was going to say, is Matt LaFleur on Thunder Watch? Is Brandon McManus on Thunder Watch? Is Luke Musgrave on Thunder Watch?
I wanted to put Aaron Banks. That was another one I want to put on.
I don't
there
even like
too.
him. I don't even like him enough to
kind of want Josh Jacobs on Thunder Watch.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I got names in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur was going to be one, like you said. Yep.
I'm
all in on that.
I've got another Green Bay name to nominate. They lost by like 174 points in Kansas the other night. I kind of want to put Doug Gottlieb back. Don't put him on.
Dude,
but I'm throwing him out there.
Talk about
I know he's Trevor's best friend.
Not relevant enough to be on Thunder Watch again. Because again, he was just terrible last year. There's no reason for me not to. I mean, he should be on Infinite Thunder Watch.
Right.
Yeah.
I also know that we can add as many as we want and take off as many as I want. We don't need to do one at a time or anything like that. But I kind of like the idea of adding one.
Yeah.
I don't like adding a million. I might surprise you with who I'm going to officially add.
Continue on.
I think if this person had come in and did what we expected him to do, a number of all these questions would have been answered in the right way, and they have not been answered in the right way because this person cannot stay available on the field. And I'm going with Aaron Banks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting Aaron Banks on Thunder Watch. And he just can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
It's like they signed it 4 years, 77 million, 60. What is it? 67?
76 million, 4 years, 76.
6, 7.
What about Matt LaFleur? Is this the week?
No, I'm not. I'm keeping him off one more.
Okay.
I'm keeping him off one more.
All right. Q's gonna be pissed.
I know. And he can be on Q list. He can be on the Q list.
Q.
Yeah.
He's infinitely on
Q's
list.
Right. He's definitely on the Q list. If you're following
respect
along.
to Q, he's never switched up on his list. That Matt LaFleur is top of that list.
If you're following along on YouTube, you can see the he's calling him Little Matt on the list. He's definitely on the Q list. The Q vibe there. I'm not putting him on there yet. But he's definitely now I'm on the list. Oh, you know what? To phrase Chris Jericho, you just made the list. Man, that was such a good bit when him and Kevin Owens were doing that. I'm putting Aaron Banks on today, but we'll see how things go Monday night. Matt LaFleur is very close. He is very close. Mason's back tomorrow. What do we got on the show tomorrow? We got any what's Thursday? Picks? We'll make our picks.
We'll make our picks tomorrow.
Yep. And we'll just more fun and frivolity. More the Packers will get back at it at some point tomorrow. So we'll have more news, more updates on everything going on there. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
I was